So it's really cool to just like actually be a part of campus instead of just being on campus.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on Across the Fence. I'm Jolie Whitney. 2025, as many of you know, marks the 70th anniversary of Across the Fence. And when we learned another campus communicator is celebrating their platinum anniversary as well, we had to know more. WRUV, UVM's student and community radio station, went on air in January of 1955. The station's mission is to offer listeners an alternative experience to online streaming and traditional radio, while providing students with leadership opportunities and technical training. Caleb May took a spin through RUV's Racks and Stacks and introduces us to DJ Duo, who's making a big noise on campus.
If you find yourself in the tunnel through UVM's Davis Center, you are listening to music curated by a UVM student. WRUV Burlington has been cranking out the tunes as a student and community-run radio station since 1955.
Ahead of that, you heard Ankles by Lucy
Maren
Davis.
Parker Burns and Emily Semaya have been DJs since their freshman year and now collab every week for their radio show.
My show right now is called The Excellent Playlist, and me and my friend Emily have been doing the show since the beginning of junior year. We both had individual shows before that.
While many radio shows focus on a certain genre or time period, WRUV allows its hosts to put their own personal flair on the air.
Maren listens to more techno-y stuff, more like, what is it, British garage, EDM, dubstep, I don't know. I would say Maren, I like stuff that has lyrics more than Maren does. And I also, I don't know, I think that we differ most on the extent to the electronic that we like.
Yeah, a lot of electronic stuff, a lot of indie rock, a lot of new songs that are reviewed by DJs at WRUV, or put on the set lists, and just kind of all over the place. Very eclectic.
Despite their current taste in different musical styles and genre, they both fell in love with the music their parents listened to.
My dad was a huge influence on my love for music, and he would collect records and CDs, and so he kind of he would make mixes for my sister and I, and it'd be like all kinds of music.
My dad used to play music throughout the house all the time. He would call it bath time with the Beatles when me and my sister were really little, so I've just been listening to like indie music for my whole life. And yeah, I don't know, I love music. It's like I don't never not have something in my headphones or never not listening to something.
In a world where Spotify and Apple Music dominate the music industry, Parker Burns and Semaya know how important it is to maintain a connection to the radio.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad you like it. He was like, I love that female power.
It is considered to be a kind of like a dying kind of format, I guess, but all the more reason to like really embrace it. People are like talking about the songs on the radio, introducing them, whereas if it's just a Spotify playlist, like you don't get that like personal connection.
I would say definitely like to hear why we're playing the songs and like where they come from and stuff, especially with the new music, because if you're just listening on Spotify, there's no way, unless you're like clicking on all of them, there's no way to know, oh, this came out yesterday, or like, oh, this is from a local artist. We play a lot of local music too. It's fun to hear anecdotes or be like, oh, I went to their concert, I got barricade at them. I would say listen to the radio to just hear the stories behind the songs.
But Parker Burns doesn't restrict her talents to the radio booth. Going by her stage name, Kate Cush, she's become a fan favorite DJ in Burlington's club scene.
DJing in the club is like like you can see like the audience's like reception of what you're playing like in real time, whereas DJing in the booth, you don't necessarily have that. I mean, either way, you get that like human connection.
For Parker Burns, this has been a long road from radio DJ to performing for friends in small events to packed crowds in bars and clubs.
My goal this year is to play shows not in Burlington. I want to, New York City, obviously there's a lot of DJs there, but I think it would be fun to do a set there and see what happens, because when else am I gonna be able to pursue this, you know?
And while neither may pursue a career in radio, they still share a love for being on air.
I feel like more and more people my age are gravitating towards like something that they can like connect with like on a personal level and have that human interaction. And it's becoming like more scarce nowadays, I feel like.
It plays throughout the Davis Center and it plays in other buildings on campus too. So it's really cool to just like actually be a part of campus instead of just being on campus.
My name is MJ. And I'm DJ Nemo, and this was the Excellent Playlist. Thank you so much for tuning in.
From the UVM Davis Center and the club, I'm Caleb May with Across the Fence.
And tune in on Monday.
Thank you, Caleb. And for Christians, today is the start of Easter weekend, which reminds us of a story Ben Willis reported last year about another sign of spring, lambs. Lambing season at Shelburne Farms is a sure sign of the change of seasons. And we should warn you, this video may be too cute for its own good. Here's Ben.
It's lambing season at Shelburne Farms. Over the course of this year, the 77 ewes at the farm will have given birth to around 140 lambs. Sam Dixon, the farm manager, oversees all operations at the dairy, including managing the farm's sheep flock.
We've had one set of quadruplets and some triplets, but mostly twins, and a few singles. These are really good, hardy sheep for New England that do very well in our climate, have twins, good moms.
Raising lambs, even in such an idyllic location, is not without its problems.
Sheep are really susceptible to internal parasites, meaning worms, and so you have to be really careful how you graze them and where you graze them and how intensively you're using the land, because you can get parasite buildup, and that can really have a real profound impact on the health of the ewe and the lambs also.
But through thoughtful grazing practices, the farm has been able to mitigate this challenge.
By having both cows and sheep, it allows us to graze them in different rotations and then help break that parasite cycle that I talked about. We could graze the heifers on a pasture one year and then graze the sheep on them the next year, and then the heifers again the year after. And that way the sheep parasites don't have a chance to establish and the levels to grow.
This year, Sam has also been confronted with a shepherd's age-old challenge: predation.
We had a coyote attack this fall, and we lost 6 ewes and rams over 2 nights. And so we had never really experienced that level of predation from coyotes, but that's a real concern for us going forward. I talked to some other sheep breeders who were having an increased problem with coyotes. That seemed to be what the sheep raisers were talking about this year. Coyote, maybe we just have gotten a much larger population, and the coyotes that have moved in have gotten a taste for lamb. I always understood that if the coyotes didn't bother your sheep, then you didn't bother the coyotes. And we had this deal for the 10, 15 years that we raised the sheep here, that we wouldn't bother the coyotes and they wouldn't bother our sheep. And the coyotes broke the deal this fall. So we're going to try to have hotter fences, and we're also going to install some lights, like safety lights, basically motion detecting lights that go off and to scare the coyotes away. But it's going to be a challenge.
What is clear is Sam has a passion and great respect for the livestock under his care.
You know, it's a very important time in these animals' lives, and we like to treat them with respect and give them their space for lambing and give them the opportunity to go through this pretty profound experience. You just have to be really careful about that they're getting adequate minerals, but they do very, very well on an all-grass diet, and they're really well adapted to our climate, and they do very, very well in New England.
Knowing where your food comes from is a valuable lesson, and the farm utilizes these sheep and other aspects of its operation to teach.
Shelburne Farms is a farm-based education organization, and the farm is part of the working classroom that we use. We just had a group of teachers here this weekend looking at some of our pasturing and forest management, and I'll be talking with a group from Champlain Valley Union next week, and then we also have classes from UVM come, and then also little kids come too. So there's a lot of different programming around what we're doing here.
If you come for a visit, just be warned, you may leave wishing you could bring one of these lambs home. At Shelburne Farms, I'm Ben Willis with Across the Fence.
Those lambs are so fuzzy and cute, and speaking of adorable, my thanks to the crew behind the scenes here at WCAX who make our program possible. I'm Jolie Whitney. This is Across the Fence. Have a good one.